I start? It's 3:30. Can I start now?
Yeah, ma'am, you can go ahead.
Yeah, Rama, okay to start? We let the others keep joining, but we should stick to the 3:30 time that we had allocated.
Sure.
Okay, great. So hello everyone, and welcome on behalf of ACFI Women Empowerment Task Pillar. So before we start, a very small request. I'd really like everyone to switch on your video and please mute your audio. Yeah, so everyone's videos, please be turned on. Also, if you have any questions, there will be a question answer session at the end of the talk. So if you have any questions or suggestions or comments, if you could please just make a note of it in the chat box, and same will be addressed, yeah, towards the end of the talk. Yeah, is that okay with everyone? Yeah, thumbs up. Cool, thank you. So let the solution be from me, let the problems be from anywhere. So these are the profound words of our speaker, Mrs. Rama. So Rama is a certified social and emotional learning coach. She's a corporate trainer, a workplace wellness consultant, and an empowerment coach with over 20 years of experience. Rama's core training expertise lies in soft skill training, workplace culture and emotional intelligence, POSH, leadership development and coaching, conflict resolution and stress management, time management, NLP, which is neuro linguistic program. And I totally love that one, Rama. And of course, there are many, many more. So in today's session, Rama will dive into the topic of cultivating a positive workplace and the power of emotional intelligence. So this session is designed to help us understand the critical link between workplace culture and emotional intelligence. So over to you, Rama.
Thank you, Nomita, for that wonderful introduction. Hi, everybody. It's so nice to connect with you all. And I would like to thank, I don't know whether Chetali has signed in. She said she's little held up. Thanks to Chetali for introducing me to Nomita, that I got this opportunity to meet you all. And yeah, the topic is very relevant to today's lifestyle, so workplace culture, how emotional intelligence can help us to have a work-life balance and have peace. All of us wanting to have peace, harmony, and respect and everything, and especially being a woman, all of us look forward for that. Wanted to be treated well and then respected and, recognize our skills. And even though we don't really expect any kind of appreciations or awards or anything, but definitely we all want to be recognized for the efforts we are putting. So let's see how this next 40 minutes is going to help us, because the topic as such, every slide is one workshop. But today I'm trying to give you an insight, because it is very important to understand why this is important. So let's begin with that. I need to share the screen. Yes. Are you able to see the screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I want this to be an interactive session. So I don't want just to hear my own, what do you call it? My own speech. And I wanted to hear everybody, so that I know this is online and it's going to be difficult for everybody to open their mouth and talk, but definitely you can chat with me in the chat box, and Nomita will help me to understand what is being written in the chat box. Yes? Yes, Nomita?
Yes. So, Rama, we have Alpana who will be taking over the Q&A session. So she will be helping you here.
Wonderful. Thanks, Alpana, for that. Okay, now let's get started. The power of emotional intelligence. So it is very important to know the power of emotional intelligence because till sometime, maybe till 20 years ago, the more preference was given to IQ, that is intelligence quotient. And only now that awareness has come, that EI has to be given maximum importance. It used to be like IQ used to be 80 and EQ used to be 20%, but now the reverse is happening. People wanted EQ to be more and then IQ to be moderate because with EQ, skills can be achieved. Having said that, let's get into it. Cultivating a positive workplace. When I say cultivating a positive workplace, what comes to your mind? How do you want your workplace to look like? What is the feel that you want to get from your workplace? If you can put it in the chat box, it'll be helpful for me to take this program forward. So, in one word, what's one feeling you would like your workplace to consistently evoke? For example, happy, respected, calm, whatever you feel like. So, Alpana, as they are entering, if you can read it out, it'll be nice.
I will. Okay, so we have Nomita first, who says calm and interactive. Then we have Padma, who says positive vibe. Then Reshma says supportive. Kavita says happy. And I have more, 1 minute. Then we have inclusive and respectful from Ruchi. Neeru says equality. Subratam says teamwork. Clara says respectful. Sakshi says encouraging. Shaheen says positive and happy. And have I missed any? I don't. Let me see.
Yeah, that's wonderful, wonderful. Absolutely correct. We all want to be motivated, happy, respected, calm, and also innovative so that we get appreciated or recognized. So when we say that we like to have respect, motivation, calmness, and happy in the workplace. Now, what is work culture? The next question will be, what is work culture? When we say work culture, this is not moving. Yeah. What is workplace culture? So basically, when we talk about workplace culture, we talk about core values. So before we talk about this, let's start by defining workplace culture. It's a term we hear often, right? In our company, our workplace culture is like this, like that. But what does it really mean? Think of it as the personality of our organization. So, workplace culture means the personality of the organization. It's not just about the rules or policies, but it is those unwritten rules, the atmosphere, the way people interact, solve problems, and ultimately how it feels to come to work every day. So you need to have that happiness. You need to feel like going to office every day and working. So it's shaped by our shared values, the beliefs we hold, the practices we follow, and the attitude, what we actually display. So it's the shared values, beliefs, practices, and attitudes that characterize how things are done here. In short, it's what it feels like to work here. So you all have very nicely put up in the chat box like what you all look for in your workplace. Now, the next thing is we have some key components for this. When we say key components, we talk about the communication styles, decision making processes, teamwork and collaboration, recognition and feedback, work life balance, and leadership styles. Now, when you look at the components listed here, communication, decision making, teamwork, these are all daily interactions that collectively define our culture. And why does culture matter so much? Because it impacts everything. It impacts our morale, engagement, productivity, innovation, ability to attract and retain talent, because retention is the biggest problem, especially in our industry, and even our customer satisfaction. When there is a retention problem, when people leave the organization, they just don't leave like that. They take back the customers also. So, customer satisfaction also plays a major role. A thriving culture is the backbone of a successful organization. That is why we say EI is very, very important. When we say EI, it is beyond IQ. So, what do you think this picture signifies? So, can somebody share in the chat box what comes to your mind when you see this picture? There is a connection that's being, shown. So, what comes to your mind when you see this picture? Yes, Alpana, can you read?
Yeah. So I have 1 minute. Let me go to the top. I have heart and mind from Clara. If I've missed any 1 minute, I'll just see. Connection between heart and mind, balance between mind and heart means intelligence and emotion. Proper balance between the heart and mind, love interaction, heart and brain, emotional intelligence, connecting heart and mind. Brain works more efficiently when heart is happy. And then I have the heart and mind to talk the same thing.
That's wonderful.
Heart is getting
So,
charged with the brain. That's a nice one.
yes, that's really nice. Wonderful to, know your thought processes, which are very, very relevant. So basically, this signifies that our ability to understand and manage our own emotions. If you think calmly and deeply, we never respond to our emotions. We only react to others' emotions because we fail to understand what we are actually undergoing, what are our feelings, what are our emotions, that we tend to forget. But we react when we see others, they are not incompatible with our emotions, we immediately flare up. So, what is most important is you need to understand and manage your own emotions. And once you're able to do that, then you will be able to recognize, understand, and influence the emotions of others, because you will start understanding others better once you are self aware. So, having said that, what is that quality which is going to help? And that quality is called empathy. When we talk about emotional intelligence, it is often referred to as people smart. So, when we say people smarts, it's not just about being nice, it's about being effective in our interactions. It encompasses two main areas. First, understanding and managing our own internal world of emotions. And second, being able to recognize and respond effectively to the emotions of others. The great news about EI is that we all think it is an innate quality. No. The great news is, unlike IQ, which is relatively fixed, emotional intelligence is a skill we can all learn, develop, and strengthen over time. So, people smarts refers to empathy, self awareness, communication, relationship building, and it's a learnable skill. Now, how this term became suddenly so popular? So this emotional intelligence has been there for ages, but there was no proper structure where we can make every individual learn it very comfortably. So this person, Daniel Goleman, he came out with wonderful pillars through which we can understand this emotional intelligence in a very nice way. He is the pioneer in the field of emotional intelligence, and he came up with 4 components which act like pillars supporting our overall emotional intelligence. You can Google, you can listen to his videos. He must be around 79, 80 now, but there are a lot of people who have come out with this EI, but he was the pioneer. He was the first one to give a structure. From his structure, it has, people have elaborated it, made it simplified, and all the other things have been done. But he's the one who gave it a structure. Now, let's understand what are these 4 pillars. So, here again, we are going to divide it into 2. One is about our own self. If we know about ourselves, then it becomes easy to understand and empathize the other person. So the first thing is self-awareness. When I say self-awareness, understanding your own emotions, strengths, weakness, values, and their impact on others. So when we are getting stressed or angry or upset about something, and if you are aware, you will know the triggers which causes you the stress. So to find out, to become self-aware, there are a lot of tools which will help us to know about our own self. Like, for example, the most basic thing is the SWOT, but that is the most elaborated. And if it is done properly, time to time, it is not that one time you do it and you get to know, like, yeah, I am self aware, I know. No, it keeps changing according to your own emotions, according to your own environment. So, as you practice this quite often, you'll be able to become aware of your own self. Now, once you become aware, the next thing is self regulation, managing your own emotions and impulses. So once you are aware, you are able to adapt to the change. That is pausing before responding to a frustrating email. It can be email or it can be when you are addressing to a person or talking to a person with your peer group. It can be anything. So self-regulation means once you are aware of your emotions, the next step is managing them. This isn't about suppressing your feelings. We think that, okay, I'm getting angry, let me not get angry, I have to control myself. It is not that. When once you become aware, that will help you to maneuver yourselves. So this isn't about suppressing feelings, but about choosing how you want to respond to them and not to react. It's about impulse control, adaptability, and managing disruptive emotions effectively. Now, this example given here, you are frustrated, but you choose to take a breath before replying to an email, rather than sending an angry response for which we regret later, right? So the same way, when the person is next to you and that person is not under control of his emotions and you are able to understand that, so you will not flare up. You will take time. Probably you will understand and empathize that guy so that you'll be able to handle that position in much ease without getting impulsive. Now, the previous slide we saw, it is about ourselves. Now, the next slide is about others, how we are going to get socially aware and how we are going to have the relationship management done. So, social awareness, the moment we say social awareness, the first and most important skill is empathy. So learning to empathize. When I say empathy, this is where we move outward. Previously, we were inward, knowing about our own self. So it's the ability to read other people, understand their perspectives, and genuinely care about their concerns. It's not just hearing what someone says, but understanding their underlying emotions. That's why we say understanding the emotions, needs, and concerns of others, reading the room. When I say reading the room, your environment, the place where you are, and trying to know about others with whom you deal day in and day out. So, this example says noticing a colleague's body language suggests that they are stressed, even if they say, I am fine. Many a times, of course, with friends, we find out. But when it comes to work culture, even though we find out, we don't want to tell them that you empathize because you think that that person may not work further, or he or she may take it for granted, they may expect some favors. So many things run in our mind. So empathy means you try to understand even if the other person is not completely telling you what he or she is undergoing emotionally. Then comes the relationship management. Relationship management is about influencing, coaching, mentoring, conflict resolutions, and building bonds. So, mediating a team disagreement constructively. That means this particular pillar is the final pillar. This is about putting all other three pillars together to build strong, positive relationships. It's about effective communication, conflict resolution, inspiring others, and working collaboratively. You have identified a conflict. You understand your own feelings and the other person's, and now you use that understanding just to find out how things are around you and the other person's. And you find a constructive resolution for that. Because you are aware of your emotions, you're able to understand the deep need or desire, or you are able to understand why this conflict has happened. And once you have identified your own emotions, and when you want to progress towards the solution and not to the person, that is most important. So, what you do, you try to find the best in that person in such a situation, and not his personality, not his behavior, but his thought towards that particular issue or problem, or for whatever the conflict has happened. You will be able to empathetically deal with this person. When we strengthen these four pillars, we don't just become better individuals, we become powerful contributors to a positive workplace culture. So, these four pillars are self awareness, self regulation, social awareness, and relationship management. There is one more pillar, Rick Little. He's another pioneer in this EI. He also adds up to responsible decision making. That is one more pillar. But that is an extension of these four pillars. So when all these four pillars are, if we are able to master it or practice it, it has to be practiced day in and day out. So then we will have a very, very positive work culture. Now we have understood these four pillars. The next step is cultivating emotional intelligence for a stronger culture. So again, we are dividing it as individual actions and then as a team action. So when we talk about individual actions, practice active listening. Truly hear, don't just wait to speak. What does it mean? This is the most important skill that we need to develop. When someone is speaking, truly listen to understand, not just to respond or reply. Ask clarifying questions, minimize distractions. Many times when there is an issue and somebody wanted to come and talk to you genuinely also, immediately what we do is we already prepare the reply and we hear to that person just to give your reply. So many a times all of us do that. We don't hear. We are supposed to listen to them. So what is the difference between hearing and listening? When you're hearing, you're just understanding it in the surface level. And that is why you're not able to connect with the emotion with what he or she is interacting with you. And your agenda is to give back the reply. So you wanted to react and not to respond. So once you empathetically listen, when you start listening, you're not only listening to their words, but you're starting to understand with what emotions that person is talking to you, whether it is serious business issue or it is personal issue. So learning to listening instead of hearing is the most important quality. In fact, I suggest in communication, the most important skill that a person needs to develop is active listening. And then comes seek and give constructive feedback. When I say constructive feedback, it needs to be towards growth mindset. When you are giving your criticism, that criticism is must, because sometimes you need to give your peace of mind to that person, but that criticism should help him to rectify his mistakes and move up the ladder. That is why we call it as constructive feedback. Both seeking it to understand your impact and giving it constructively, focusing on behavior and not personality, and always with empathy. Never criticize the individual. If you want to say something, talk about the action, talk about the work, and ask that person, you please give your respect and make him feel valued. Then develop empathy. Empathy is nothing but putting yourself in others' shoes. Consciously try to see situations from others' perspective, because it broadens your understanding and builds connection. When the connection is built, the relationship and the bonding increases. It is not only for your professional life, it means a lot in your personal life also. Then we have certain methods, like you can have mindful breathing and pausing before reacting. So our emotions can trigger immediate reactions. A quick pause, a deep breath can give you that crucial moments to choose your response rather than react impulsively. Now, the most important skill that we need to learn is observing the non-verbal communication, non-verbal cues. Even if it is online, even if you are not physically present, but you are noticing that person online, try to understand, pay attention to the tone of voice, facial expressions, and body language. Of course, if the cameras are on, you can do that. But if it is a serious discussion, please ensure that they keep their videos on so that you get those non-verbal cues.
Rama, can I just read out one comment from Sakshi?
Please.
So she says, sometimes we notice that empathy and kindness is seen as a weakness and people take you for granted. And when you need to be firm, it's suddenly seen as being rude. So that's a comment from Sakshi based on the previous slide.
Yeah, because even though we talk about empathy, most of the time What we exhibit is sympathy. So once you understand the real difference between sympathy and empathy, empathy is more towards firm way of responding. So that's a different ocean, and that skill is very important and it can be developed. I mean, it cannot be done in just in this one meeting. We do workshops just for empathy, especially for hospitals and other places where empathy is most required. So if I had to say something now, you need to clearly understand the difference between sympathy and empathy. When you approach somebody sympathetically, it is looked as a weakness. When you are very well learned the quality of being empathy, then your response will be very firm and more very respectful, that people will value it. They will not see it as a weakness, they will see it as a smart move. Now, the next one is that fine? Can I move on?
Sure. Sure. I
Yeah.
think Sakshi is also fine.
Okay. So cultivating EI for a stronger culture. So once you individually grow, develop with a growth mindset, learn to empathize and understand the nonverbal cues and know to handle your emotions, then you need to nurture the culture of your workplace. So team and leadership actions foster psychological safety, which is very, very important. Make it safe to speak up or make mistakes. Sometimes people hide their mistakes because they fear to share with you, they don't feel safe. So, psychological safety is mandatory. You have to give that space to each and everybody. This is about creating an environment where people feel safe to take risks. If they are going to be blamed for every mistake, they won't come forward. They won't want to take any risk and spoil their relationship. So even for people to take risk and take that extra effort, they need to feel safe around you. So to share ideas or ask questions and even admit mistakes without fear of negative consequences. So it's essential for innovation and learning. Then model EI behaviors. It's not that we preach, we need to practice, lead by example. So leaders and team members setting the example of self-awareness, empathy, and effective relationship managements, they are very, very powerful and they need to lead by that. Then encourage open communication, be transparent, invite dialogues, make them feel that they are valued, they can communicate to you. So you need to be transparent wherever it is possible, invite dialogues and create channels for feedback, and that feedback needs to be constructive. Recognize and appreciate efforts, build morale and trust. That means acknowledging contributions. It may be a very, very small contribution. It need not be a big contribution that it needs to be visibly seen and brought in too big outcome. Not required. What is important is they need to feel, every employee needs to feel that every move of mine is being noticed and recognized. So, whether the contribution is big or small, boost morale and reinforce positive behaviors. Then, last but not the least, promote inclusion and respect, because we all expect that. So, we are also bound or we are also responsible in doing the same. So, promote inclusion and respect, celebrate diverse perspectives. So, ensuring everyone feels valued, heard, and respected, regardless of their background or role, is fundamental to a healthy culture. So, these are very, very important. The four pillars: self awareness, self regulation, social awareness, and relationship management. It needs to be appreciated and needs to be developed, learned, and practiced, and we need to stand as a role model so that people understand your value and people feel they are also being valued. Now we are nearing the end of our session, and I hope this session has given you valuable insights into the powerful connection between EI and our workplace culture. Let's recap these key takeaways. Our workplace culture is the collective sum of our daily interactions. Emotional intelligence is a fundamental and learnable skill. I want you to please remember that it is a learnable skill. Developing emotional intelligence helps us navigate challenges, build stronger relationships, and foster a thriving environment. So, just to reiterate, the core messages, remember that our culture isn't some abstract concept. It's built by each one of us every single day through our interactions. Emotional intelligence is the crucial skill that enables us to make those interactions positive and also productive. And one great news, if I have to again and again repeat, is that it's something we can all continuously, consciously develop. Now, having discussed all these things, the most important is you people taking the next step, your personal call to action. Identify one emotional intelligence skill you will focus on strengthening in the next week. It can be anything, it can be active listening or just pausing before reacting or even observing others' emotions. All these things, anything, it is your personal call to action. I would like to leave you with a personal challenge over the next week. I encourage each of you to identify just one aspect of EI that you will consciously focus on strengthening. Perhaps it's practicing more active listening or taking a mindful pause before responding to a stressful email or making a conscious effort to notice how a colleague is feeling. So it can be anything, but I would recommend active listening. So if we are able to master that, I mean, the whole outlook of our life changes and people notice the positive change in us. And without our knowledge, you will be moving towards growth mindset. So with this, I would like to end this and thank you for such a wonderful opportunity to share my feelings of EI at workplace. And thank you for being such wonderful participants. And thank you, Nomita and Alpana, for making it more interactive. Thank you.
So, Rama, can we open, to a few
Yes.
questions, if that's okay? Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So please feel free to put your questions or your comments in the chat box. I will read it out to Rama and we can have a discussion. So the first one comes from Nomita. Is there a difference between emotional intelligence and emotional quotient? So EI
Quotient.
and EQ.
Yeah. So we use intelligence because intelligence is a word which is very common. Intelligence is the knowledge. It is it is how you portray yourself. I am intelligent. I have knowledge. I know about this. So that is a very, very common word, which is very easily relatable and understandable. So otherwise, EI and EQ, we call it in percentage. This quotient is this. It is more towards mathematical, like, if you go for any senior post or anywhere, nowadays you have these psychometric tests being done. So there, if you see, they say EQ 80%, IQ 20%, so it is more towards that. What it all means is you need to develop those 4 pillars.
Yeah. Any other question? So I think I'll ask the next question. So my question is that, these are very good things that we have learned. Some of it we already know, some of it we need to practice. How do we ensure that everybody in the team gets it? I could do things for myself, but I can't manage the others, So how is it that we can do it collectively as a team? And then only the workplace culture becomes better and the environment becomes better. And
See,
by the way,
even if
I have a couple of team members sitting in this conversation also. Yeah.
Okay. See, it is all interrelated, right? How we behave, and that is the reflection, people generally. And even at home, all of us are not the same. We do have some kind of, our own belief systems and our own values, and we expect certain things to be in certain way. But in a general format, there are certain things which we are still not focusing on, like, being empathetic,
Yeah.
not being impulsive, not listening. So these basic things, when we practice, and all these years we have not been doing it, we have been only more on towards us. Whenever you are stressed or whenever you are angry, what is the sentence we all say? That fellow is not understanding me. I'm doing so much. Maybe for you, you're doing so much. That person is really not understanding because he never sees you doing so much. So
Yeah.
it is very, very relative, So unless and until you become aware, like what are your strengths, your weakness, what are your trigger points, once you become aware of your own strengths, and once you really know, see, we all are very happy to work towards our strengths. We don't even want to look into our weaknesses.
Yeah.
See, but understanding your weaknesses is the key. Once you know your weaknesses, you know where is your trigger point, and you also know how you can improve upon it. So, in SWOT analysis, if you see, it is strength, weakness, opportunities, and threat, we call it. So, if you're not going to address your weakness, that is going to be your threat. People know your weakness. So they always have the tool in their hands to trigger you, and they will never understand you. They understand your weakness, so they know how to trigger you. So when you know your weakness, you have an opportunity to convert your weakness into strength. So that becomes threat to the other person. Now you are making your own threats by not working on your weaknesses. So when everybody starts working in a very, very small way, that's why I said the first most important point in which we need to work is active listening.
Yeah.
We should stop listening to reply.
So,
We
Rama,
should start. Yeah.
Sorry, continue, please.
You should start listening to respond. So you understand with what emotions that person is telling. Once you start recognizing the other person's emotions, and once you start valuing your emotions, you will definitely empathize. So that will show your quality, and over a period of time, that person will also change. But you can't expect the change to happen immediately, because all these years it was this pattern. Now the whole pattern needs to be changed, and that many years you need to give. If you're lucky and everybody finds it very important, everybody will like to change. According to me, nobody wants to have a horrible life. Nobody wants to have a tension-filled life. So if people really work on it, they are going to be happy and make their environment happy.
Yeah, sounds good. Rama, completely agree with the active listening part. And this is even as mothers, or when we are teaching children, we are always telling them how to speak. Most of the time, we are teaching them to speak, but we don't teach people to listen, no?
See,
Arpan, I
nowadays
have a question.
Sakshi also has a
corporate
question,
insist on corporates, maximum programs I've done in corporates is on empathy and active listening.
Right.
So these two are the major things which
Yeah.
corporates they look for, because I am into emotional intelligence. So when I connect it with their psychological and physical presence in the office, so that really works.
Right. Sakshi?
Yeah. So Rama, I have, I really like what you said that, the two, I would say empathy and active listening and also pause before reacting. Definitely, we all need to work. But what would you say, today in the corporate world and especially in logistics, today, what is the difference when there is a man and a woman? The emotional quotient or the intelligence of a man and a woman, I would say there is a difference of chalk and cheese. As for me, yes, that is
Right.
one. When we are in the ecosystem which we are in, where there is probably 80% men and 20%, or maybe even 90 and 10, and we as women are carrying stress of the children of our homes, and subconsciously we carry it to our workplace, where we are dealing with men who are not carrying that baggage, probably. All right. And we are equals there, and we have our teams also with us. So, should we deal in such situations? And then in women, besides that, we have our menopausal, premenopausals, hormonal upswings, and everything does play on this thing called emotional quotient, which is a silent killer, which not many people even recognize. They see that as a trait in you since the last 2 years, the last few months. Ma'am is reacting this way, but there is something which is happening which is not in our control. So if you could summarize and address this in short, please.
Yeah. See, this is one thing. We always see workplace and family separately. It is not separate. Both are inclined. They both needs to be together. Only then we can work. That is number one. Number two is, if whenever, or suppose a person is feeling that I am having a family pressure, I'm also having a work pressure, that means they need to take one at a time. That means first get your family members intact, make them understand. See, the problem with a lot of women is we all wanted to prove ourselves. We all know we are much more capable. In fact, we are more stronger than men when it comes to emotional quotient. But the thing is, we always look for people to value us and recognize us. That is the biggest weakness that we carry with us. So we always, whenever we do something, we want people to understand us. So, and when people don't understand us, when they start, saying something, when they criticize or when they put forth their point of view, then that really triggers us, because we always wait for others to understand us. What is most important is, once you do this self awareness, and when you are able to understand your weakness, okay, this is where I am weak. First, you be sure as to what is your triggering point, what is making you feel, what is your weakness, where it is bringing a change that you notice with your employees or with your family members. Then address to that. Your physical health and mental health go hand in hand. If you are going to neglect anyone, it is going to create an impact on the other one. So, to answer your question, what I am saying is, definitely there is a challenge when you have certain things, like you were talking about menopause and things. So, address to that and find out what particular action of others and what particular feeling of yours is making you feel weak. And then you start working on that. First, you need to work on you. That's why I said you need to. It might look like, there is no clarity in what I am saying, but that is the fact. You need to work on yourself first. Identify what triggers you. Now that you know somebody is undergoing menopause and there are certain psychological issues all of us undergo, as a woman, you first acknowledge that. Yes, I am having menopause. I am undergoing these feelings. So I will be getting triggered to all these things. So I should become aware. That should be your first step. And then the second step is talk to your family members. Tell them, I am under pressure in office and I am also undergoing menopause. These things I am having. These troubles me a lot. I need your support. Many a times we don't want to ask for support. We think if we ask for support, people may think I am weak. It's okay, so what? Aam khana hai, pet ginna hai. Let them know and let them come and support us. It becomes their responsibility also, because when we take responsibility of handling both family and office, so first thing is address to yourself. That is why in emotional intelligence, we first talk about self-awareness. Only when you become self-aware, when you know your weakness, once you acknowledge your weakness, that will start supporting you. It might look very vague. I'm a master NLP practitioner. I'm doing counseling. I know how well it works. So first address to your own needs, your own emotions. Identify what kind of talk or what kind of behavior of others is triggering you and why is it triggering you? Why are you feeling so? So again, it comes back to your self-awareness. Once you work on yourself, once you acknowledge, I'm not saying if you're weak means you're weak. No, first accept, acknowledge, okay, I am weak. What is the next step I have to do? I need to go and see a doctor. Doctor says this is how it's going to be. Take these pills. Now take it. Work on your physical health. Because if your physical health and mental health both goes hand in hand. In fact, first what gets affected is your mental health. Only then it reflects on your body. The more you neglect, the more physically you become weak. When you're tired, when you feel fatigue, when you feel mentally drained, that means you need rest. But we push ourselves. We don't know for what, to prove to whom what. We push ourselves, and then that reflects on our physical health. Once you're physically totally down, only then we take the action forward. So, Sakshi, everything revolves around you and yourself. So, first, you need to become self aware, address your issues, feel empathy towards yourself. And once you take a little step and you feel that you're going towards a positive thing, appreciate yourself. Don't wait for others to appreciate. I never wait for others to appreciate me. I feel I have done something, I do this. That's how I do it. I don't
Thank you,
wait for
Rama.
others.
But you know,
I think
honestly,
yes, that's the
Rama,
key. We need to do that, and I think even the male counterparts or the family, the male members of the family and our workplace also need to understand and go through a session with you.
true that. But
I'll
you know,
take the
Padma,
last question.
so
Can
just
I? Yeah,
one thing
Namita.
for me,
Yes, please.
Alpana, I just wanted to comment on Rama, what you said. I mean, this is something which is so important. And most of us, most women today, they will worry about their father, their mother, their child, their husband, the
Everybody.
in-laws. They just don't care about themselves. And I think it all stems from that, because if we are not happy, we are not healthy, how are we going to make others happy and healthy? So I think it's so important that we as women must first look after ourselves. And I think it's not selfish at all to, think about us and to think about our own well-being first. So Rama, that was brilliant. Thank you. So Alpana, you want to take a
Thank you.
last question before we
Nobby,
end?
Yeah,
they
I'll
always
take a
say wear
last
your own
question.
oxygen mask first and then help
Yeah.
others.
Exactly.
Exactly.
You
Exactly.
hit
Love
the nail on the
yourself.
head, Sakshi.
Yeah.
Love yourself first.
Yeah.
Automatically, you love everybody.
Yeah.
Self
So,
love
Rama,
is
Padma,
very
nice
important.
to
please,
see you.
I'll take the last question from Neha Sharma. She says, really nice session. Can you please share any 4 or 5 tips for building better relationships?
Work on those 4 pillars.
Yeah.
You know, I'm also into coaching. So when the middle level and the top level managers, when they all come for coaching, all I'm doing is this in EI only I'm doing it, because making them understand themselves is the first key, So that is very, very important. If you are aware of yourself, work on self-awareness. That is the best thing anybody can do. Right from the age of 12, I have a practice of reflection. My dad taught me when I was a very small kid. He told me, like, before going to bed. When I was kid, he told me this. But now, as a grown-up adult, I know it is called reflection. He told me, before you go to bed, think how many of them made you happy and how many of them you made them happy. How many of them hurt you and how many people you hurt. Think about it. And next day should be better than your previous day. So he taught me in a very small way, but till now I'm practicing it. I don't want my next day to be, the same as the previous day. I definitely want my next day to be the better day. And every day there is something to learn, because there is so much we are doing knowingly and unknowingly, thinking that we are right. That's it. So it was lovely to connect with you all.
It was very,
Thank
very,
you.
very nice. And I will, sum it up like the Karan Johar says, it's all about loving your family. So actually, it's all about knowing yourself. That is the main thing, Self-awareness comes first. Regulate your emotions, and then you do it for the others. And I think, know your trigger points, manage your emotions, lots of things. I think there are so many takeaways from all of us. So thank you so, so very much, Rama. We'd love to have some more sessions focusing on just one or two of those skill sets that you spoke about. So really, from everybody over here, from our whole team of Women Empowerment Pillar, I say a big thank you to you, Rama. Thank you, Reshma, Nomita, for bringing this. Chetali, I think she's the one who introduced Rama to us. So yeah, thanks a lot, Chetali. Thank you to the big audience, because if the audience was not there, this great discussion would not have happened, because everything that you say, every discussion, brings us closer to understanding so many things. So that's it from all of us once again. I think we are very, very much on time, Nomita. Are we okay?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Rama. Thank you, Alpana. And thank you everyone for joining in. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Thank you.
Bye, Rama. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye, Sakshi.